Hey, I'm Alana Heim of Prosperity Alignment, and it's the new year. It's 2022. There's lots of really profound, I would say revolutionary things that are coming. And really, what I want to start out with is one of the experiences I had at the end of 2021. So, right before solstice, winter solstice in the northern hemisphere, and southern hemisphere, that would have been your summer solstice. So, around December 21st. So the day before, I participated in my mentor's Guardians collective group where we are helping to bring our love light to the forefront, challenging and questing to break up the darkness on the planet. Everybody did something different. We had already had this experience of working on certain places, locations on the planet. This time it was more specifically to target our systems and specific groups, sectors that had been infiltrated by this darkness. You don't hear people talk about the dark very often. And ultimately, there's this need for the light and the dark to work together. If you've ever seen Avatar, it was a Nickelodeon cartoon, beautiful portrayal of kind of where we are, the gifts humanity once had, being able to really connect to the elements. In the second part, it was really the part that had to do with the legend of Korra. You really got to see how much the light needed the dark to coexist and to actually exist together. So often when we are wanting to spread our light, we think we have to remove all the dark, and we actually need both. It's very helpful for us to learn who we are and to have these experiences. So for example, with all of the worldly changes going on, we wouldn't have the awakening that we're also having. There's always a blessing to what feels really tumultuous or like turmoil and trauma. So through the trauma, we have this blessing that comes forth. So for me, what I've recognized, where my work really is taking me, is into this darkness, to meet it, to connect with it, and to be able to help it transmute into the light, if it so chooses. Everything has a choice. Everything has free will, even the darkness. So for some of these entities that have got stuck on certain paths, they may actually be with you, causing you to make poor choices. You don't mean to. It just happens. And you have humanity that will tell you, you need to change your mindset and you need to do better. And for every time that you try harder, you potentially may have this darkness that is part of you, attached to you, has been with you for many lifetimes even, that is feeding off of you, wanting you to be in the negative toxicity of the darkness, just so that it can continue to thrive. And then that leaves you surviving and having a really hard time on this planet. So what I've found is when I can connect to the dark that may be in my clients, and I can have a conversation with them, I can help them go to source love light, to return to infinite source, where they no longer have to pull from somebody else or something else to take energy. They freely have access to all that they need. That's exactly where we are as a people, where for thousands of years, humanity has learned to take the energy from another. And to then go beyond the energy, they take the worldly possessions, the earthly possessions from another. So you can see, and I was just having this conversation with my daughter, we used to have it where humanity wanted to dominate each other. So adults did it all the time with children. They would dominate the children, whether that was verbally or physically or sexually or whatever it may be. It was to take away their power so they had more. Times are changing. You don't get to beat your kids in school anymore. You don't get to beat your kids at home, and you don't get to yell and traumatize and neglect, right? Humanity is shifting to realize this isn't okay. You can't do these things. You can't take children and you can't put them in rings and make them do things, right? That was the power essence. That was the control, the manipulation, the greed, everything that was controlling this planet. That is what we were facing as guardians. We were going to connect to these entities, some of which are, dark beings. They're on other planets and they come and attach to humans. They attach to things, to systems they've created. We went to connect, and I did it differently. My way was to have the conversation. I went straight to the darkness, and I recorded a little audio that gave kind of my emotional story of what I encountered. But just to simplify it for you, if you saw Matrix 3, and I had to rewatch it recently because I knew Matrix 4 was coming out, that creature where all the darkness and all the, I forget what they call them, all the little like robot kind of things come together. They created like this talking creature that then talked to Neo. And I felt like what I communicated with was something very similar. Not quite, but it definitely had tendrils and tentacles all over the planet, and it was in everything. It was in systems, it was in people, it was in the earth, in the water, in the fire, in the ether, in the air. It was in everything. And I just sent it love and held my space and was protected and had my archangel with me to ask for and continually hold the love light. And it wanted to get to me. It wanted to connect to me. And keeping my Jedi bubble, if you will, to protect myself and just keep radiating love. Telling it, I love you, and thank you. Thank you because for what it has taught us as a race of humanity and on this planet as we're ascending, everything's changing. We're finally getting to this point where we can break free of that darkness in a way that the darkness became one with the light. And it was very powerful because it resisted. It didn't want to, but it did, but it didn't. And as it would shrink, so the tentacles starting to pull away from things, I kept telling it because I felt it. It thought it was weak. It thought it was becoming weaker, right? When we think about, oh, we're shrinking, we're getting smaller, that we must be losing our power, right? And I had to tell it, no, you're growing stronger. You're growing stronger with the light, and you will retain all of your memories and all of this essence in the sense of what you learned from it. And you're going to the light. You're choosing to be part of the light. And I got to witness it become like a sun, right? The way we perceive a sun to look, that glowing, radiant energy ball of light, that's what it became. And then even more so, it became like this golden egg of pure love. And to witness it was truly beautiful and emotional. And to help it know that it didn't have to take anymore. It could freely receive from Source all that it needed. It didn't have to be part of that dance. And so what we're seeing is a lot of the work that the guardians are doing, we're breaking up where it was out of balance and where humanity wasn't truly able to flourish, to thrive. And what I really recognize and what I'm here to really represent and work on this year in 2022 is if the darkness is not truly holding us back like it used to, that means we're going to think we're still not free out here. We're going to think that there's still all these rules and systems that are controlling us. They're not there, which means internally we have to release those beliefs and release whatever other energy might still be in us, because it's not out here like it used to be, but it's still here. So the darkness may live in you, and you may project it, even though it's no longer reflecting that. So we have to work on healing ourselves. And even being in the healing arts, I'm not here to heal you. I'm here to guide you to heal yourself when you're ready. And that's a huge piece for all of humanity, because when I honor myself and step into my being, that allows you to be inspired to do the same. And so for each and every one of us on this planet, that's our work. That is where it's time to step out of the box and to shine your radiant brilliance like you've never done before, without fear of judgment, of shame, of guilt, where you're forgiving yourself for hiding, for playing small, for letting others take your power away. And just like I love so much in the labyrinth, we get to now say, you have no power over me. And by you, I mean the darkness, the world around us, the systems. But even so, we're talking to ourselves, where you have no power over me, in the sense that whatever part of ourselves that used to control who we really are, you get to let it go. So we are having more and more changes that are going to continue. We have to completely have these upheavals in our systems, because they were based in that darkness. They were based in lack and scarcity, and they were based in hate and fear and anger and every low vibration you can think of. That's where it was all created. It's time to change. It's time to revolt if necessary, not comply with old ways, and start to recognize that the gift within you is the light others need. And together we can build new ways that are based in love and joy and compassion and equality, sustainability, honoring our gifts and who we really are. That's what I want. That's what I see. I absolutely adore you. I honor you. I respect you. And I truly love you. Mwah. Thank you so much for being you. Bye for now.